Good morning, teacher and friends. Welcome to my presentation, and the lesson today is lesson 11, memory skill. Now I will talk three members of group 9. The first member is Phạm Thị Thùy Linh. The second member is Vũ Thị Ngọc and me, Nguyễn Thị Lụa. In my presentation, I will focus on four major issues. Part 1, review. Part 2, memory skill, and part 3, practice, and last part is mini game. Especially in the part 2, my group divided into four small parts. Number 1 is what's in memory skill. Number 2, stage in memory skill. And number 3, why to improve memory skill. And number 4, how to improve memory skill. First of all, we come to part 1, review. Everybody has 20 minutes to do 10 questions in part 1.
So now I'd like to draw your attention to our lesson today. We're going to learn lesson 11, memory skills, one of 5 helpful skills for interpreting. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to apply memory skill in interpreting tasks and ways to improve short-term memory skill. Moreover, you could be able to search for information as required. First of all, I begin by explaining what is memory skill. As you can see on the screen, memory skills refer to two types of memory, short-term and long-term memory. However, we'll pay close attention to the short-term memory skill during today's lesson. To be more specific, short-term memory is the process of reproducing or recalling what the interpreter retains what he or she have just heard. Let's turn to the next slide. Memory involves 3 stages, which are encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is the process of how the brain gets information into it. The storage is the act of how the brain retains the information. Retrieval is the stage of how the brain gets back it out. It means finding and bringing back the information. In addition, you'd be surprised to know why a good interpreter needs to improve immediate memorization, particularly in some following contexts. For instance, when being unable to take notes, the speaker speaks too fast, or you have to stand upright for a long time. As you know, not everyone has good memory, but you can train your memory step by step. Here are some professional interpreters' advice. Memory needs training by doing a lot of exercises, reading the passages in mother tongue or foreign language from short passages to longer ones. Remember gist, logical links, and keywords. After that, recall. Follow speakers on TV, radio, and so on. Start with topics that interest you. Last but not least, I offer some practical ways to improve short-term memory skills. One of the ways to improve short-term memory skills is to retell a written news. Besides, reproducing a speech, tape record news, and interpreting practice are good ways to practice. To improve short-term memory and speaking style, students are advised to observe high-level interpreters who appear on TV news. Now let's move on to practice 1. You will watch this video and try to memorize as many details as possible. Bear in mind that we just show it twice. Let's finish my part with one more little activity. A couple of days ago, I just looked over the achievements of our country in the 32nd SEA Games, Cambodia 2023. I felt so proud to hear that news. I suppose it would be not easy to remember the exact numbers of the gold medals and silver medals that Vietnam got. Let's practice by reading this passage and try to remember the details. Now I'd like to invite Ngọc to continue our presentation.
I'm very pleased to practice to improve short-term memory skills. And now we will move on activity 1. Memorizing written news. You will work individually and receive different calls. You need to memorize the message in 1 minute, and then you will come up front and retell the message. And finally, I will listen and check. Firstly, tin văn hóa. Trong 3 tháng đầu năm, theo yêu cầu của Bộ Thông tin và Truyền thông, Facebook, Google và TikTok đã loại bỏ 90% thông tin độc hại. Facebook đã ngăn chặn và gỡ bỏ 1.096 bài viết. Google đã gỡ 1.670 video vi phạm trên YouTube. TikTok đã xóa 323 link vi phạm, đồng thời khóa 47 tài khoản, kênh thường xuyên đăng tải những nội dung độc hại. Economic news. A report by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development's Information and Statistics Center said that since the beginning of the year, manufacturers have produced 1.03 million tons of sugar, a year-on-year increase of 165,000 tons. The industry estimated that the country needed to import only 200 tons of sugar to meet domestic demand. Tin giáo dục, hơn 1 triệu thí sinh đăng ký dự thi kỳ thi tốt nghiệp Trung học phổ thông quốc gia năm 2023, tăng khoảng 24.000 thí sinh so với năm ngoái. Tổng số do Bộ Giáo dục và Đào tạo tiết lộ vào ngày 15 tháng 5 là 1.025.166. Theo thống kê của Bộ Giáo dục và Đào tạo, trong số này có 94,51% học sinh đăng ký dự thi trực tuyến, với 917.731 học sinh đăng ký xem xét và kết quả xét tuyển theo tốt nghiệp trung học phổ thông và xét tuyển đại học. Tourism News. CNN has listed Hạ Long Bay as UNESCO Heritage Site among the 25 most gorgeous destinations on Earth. Hạ Long Bay is one of the most popular natural attractions in Southeast Asia and one of the most beautiful places in Vietnam, CNN said. The most ideal time to visit Hạ Long is between March and April and September to November, as there is very little rain and cruise conditions are near perfect. Tin y tế. Kể từ khi đại dịch bùng phát ở nước này vào đầu năm 2020, cả nước đã ghi nhận hơn 11.557.969 trường hợp mắc bệnh. Đến nay, cả nước đã tiêm được 266.207.930 liều vaccine phòng chống COVID-19. Trước tình hình số ca mắc COVID-19 tại Việt Nam liên tục gia tăng trong thời gian gần đây, Bộ Y tế liên tục yêu cầu các địa phương đẩy mạnh tiêm vaccine cho các đối tượng thuộc nhóm nguy cơ cao. Now we will continue with activity 2, memorizing written news. In this activity, you will work in teams. A team has 4 members, student A, B, C, and D. Student A, we will not note anything in the process. Student A will receive the card, memorize the message in 1 minute, and then whisper to B.
Student B will listen, memorize, and whisper to C. Student D listen from C, memorize, and reproduce the message. The total time for this activity is 5 minutes. The winner is the team with the more accurate message. Now we will start with news 1. Vào ngày 13 tháng 5, rapper Demvo đã phát hành video âm nhạc Nấu ăn cho em và lọt vào top 10 bài hát được nghe nhiều nhất trên Apple Music trên Việt Nam. 2 ngày sau khi phát hành, ca khúc đã thu về khoảng 2,5 triệu lượt xem và đứng sau Making My Way của Sơn Tùng MTV. News 2. Food and drink. Bubble tea is currently a very popular drink for many people. The milk for this drink was made from sugar and dairy creamer, not the kind of milk that we had often used. A 500 milk cup of bubble tea contains about 30 grams of sugar, equivalent to 120 calories, about 30 grams of dairy creamers, primarily made from palm oil and nut oil, with a composition of 55% sugar and 35% fat, equivalent to 160 calories.
On the screen, you can see activity 3. The next night, I saw activity memorizing tape record news, and we'll talk about instruction that is easy to understand and easy to practice. Work individually, look at some clues, listen to the news, and memorize without taking notes. It means you must not write something on paper. After listening, discuss in pairs, reproduce the news. And now we spend time watching Vietnamese news about Phú Quốc. And here, there are some clues. Vietnamese news. Number 1, Phú Quốc. Number 2, địa điểm. Number 3, hòn đảo lớn nhất trong quần thể. And last one is tổng diện tích. To go on practice, we listen to the English news trial. And I have some clues. Number 1, the co-founder of Facebook. And number 2, New Year's resolution. And last one is the number of followers. Now we come to the final part of the presentation. It's a mini game. And this is the end of my group's presentation. Thank you for your attention.